Can a Porsche 911 be a daily driver? That's the question that I'm gonna answer in this video. I bought this 2013 991 Porsche 911 just a few months ago, but of course I didn't buy it with the intent of it being a daily driver. But since I own this car and mostly it just sits around, I decided to find out for myself what the experience would be if I treated this like a daily driver. If you've seen any other videos on my channel, then you know that my daily is a 1,000 horsepower Tesla Model S Plaid. And that car indeed is the ultimate daily driver. But the question is, can this 911 be any good as daily? The first thing you need to get used to is that this car is not easy to get in and out of. You need to use the steering wheel, you need to prop yourself up, you need all kinds of support to get in and out, and leg strength. You need to do some squats to strengthen those quads. If you're not in shape, this car will put you in shape. I'm not kidding, this car is work. And if you can't push the door panel all the way out, forget it, your job's gonna be much harder. The benefit of having a 911 as a daily is you get to cancel your gym membership. This car is all the workout that you need. It goes without saying that Porsche 911 and practicality are words that do not belong in the same sentence. You have one passenger seat for that unfortunate passenger who will get sick of trying to get in and out of your Porsche 911. You have back seats which are basically useless. You might as well use them for storing your stuffed animal collection. I have some good news though. If you don't want to keep your stuffed animals in the back seat, just toss them up front in the frunk. Groot will be really happy in there. It's not a completely impractical car. If you needed to, the 911 can be of service. If you're like me and you carry around large water bottles like this, then in the Porsche 911, you're out of luck. The cup holders in the 911, like the back seat, are useless. There's no fitting this in. At best, a small tiny cup in this cup holder. Although the 911 isn't a particularly comfortable car, especially this 991, you will like being on the inside of it. The interior fit and finish is nice. It's a premium high-end car. This is an almost 12-year-old car with 60,000 miles on it, but you wouldn't know that by the looks of it. Things are still really solid. Impressive build quality from this German car maker. This 991 911 has some of the best seats that I've ever sat in any car. And on top of that, you have the perfect seating position. The ergonomics in this car are perfection. Everything is easily accessible. In this car, you get in and you just can't wait to start driving. This is the one daily driver that you'll be itching to drive time and time again. I average about 21 miles per gallon in this car, but if you really drive this thing the way it's meant to be driven, your mileage would be a lot lower. You might look at something as low as the Porsche 911 and think that this thing scrapes over every bump, it's too low to the ground, but you know what? It's actually not. The ground clearance on this is surprisingly good, and I was shocked to find out that it has no problem tackling my angled driveway. If you happen to daily a 911, one surprising thing you'll find out, which I learned the hard way, is that people will tailgate you, they will cut you off. They will make your life more difficult than it needs to be when driving this thing around. And that's the thing that you have to deal with if you want to daily a 911. You can't just blend into the crowd and drive in peace. People are gonna look. Tesla Model S Plaid, nobody cares. This car, people do care. Sadly, for most 911 owners, this car doesn't see the light of day because mostly this is a garage queen. But if you're anything like me, then this car can be an awesome daily because it makes your life as a commuter that much more fun. On top of that, you also get to save money. No more gym membership. If you do want to daily drive a 911, one thing to factor in are expensive maintenance costs. In this video, I talked about spending over $5,000 on just average maintenance. The more you drive this car, the more miles that you put on it, the chances are higher that you're gonna have to spend some money on repairs. But in the few months that I've owned this car, I'm happy to report that I haven't encountered any crazy problems. As far as expensive German sports cars go, this is a good one to own, solid and reliable. In the 911, you're really just not gonna have that much fun unless you push it. After about 4,000 RPM, the car just starts to sing. The exhaust noise sounds great, you get more power because these things don't have a lot of torque. This base 911 Carrera only has 287 pound-feet of torque, so at the higher RPMs, that's when you get more horsepower, and that's when the car starts to feel a lot quicker. And then shifting at 7,000 RPM, that's just a joy in this 911, especially if you have a stick shift. And if you do daily at 911, you're gonna wanna find a curvy road with a lot of twists and bends, because that's where you really get to have fun with the 911. Because my 911 doesn't have a lot of straight line speed, I enjoy driving it much more through the turns. The handling is just so good. It's a light car, it's nimble. You really get a lot of fun out of throwing this thing around turns. But it's not like there aren't 911s with a ton of power. Take the Turbo S, the GT3, incredibly quick cars that are not only super fast, straight line, but also around turns, they're absolutely enjoyable. These 911s are such capable machines, you only get a tiny taste of it on regular roads. If your daily drive and commute consists of a lot of stop and go traffic and you can't really get on it or enjoy the 911, then this car is gonna be more frustrating than fun. Because at slow speeds, if you can't get into the high RPMs, it's just a frustrating experience. The 911 is not meant to be a car that you just putter around in. That's why the cup holders are useless in the 911, because you're laser focused on the driving experience, no time to drink or mess with anything. With the Porsche 911, don't expect the ride to be extremely comfortable or luxurious. For that, you have a BMW or a Mercedes. You're so connected to the road that you feel the bumps, you feel everything, which is all good, by the way. That's what the 911 was designed for. You'll be completely engaged in the driving experience and have an incredible time behind the wheel of the 911. It has a raw feel to it. There's not a lot of insulation. It's noisy, but all of it's good. If you're feeling tired or drowsy, this is the car that will immediately wake you up. Even though I have a base Carrera with not a huge amount of power, 350 horsepower, 287 pound-feet of torque, because I have the stick shift, I feel the racing soul of this 911. Especially at the higher RPM, that noise, that is what makes this car a 911. If you need a daily driver to be practical to haul around people, then of course, obviously the 911 is not the answer. But at the end of a workday, if you're tired and you just want to leave and get into something fun, then the 911 is as good as it gets. You want to feel re-energized after a long, hard day at work, then the 911 will do it for you. If you end up getting a Porsche 911 as a daily driver, then a lot of people will look at you and wonder, why a 911 is a daily driver out of all of the cars that you could be driving. It's those same people that are going to tailgate you and cut you off as you're enjoying your 911. But who cares what other people think? Life is way too short for that. A 911 is as good of a daily driver as they come. And Groot's gonna love it. Look at how happy he is.